Okay. So when we form an LLC, right, can you see this operating agreement?
Yeah.
Operating agreement is one of the very important document which most people will ignore it, okay, when they form an LLC. So in that you can emphasize like who has that 80% and who has that right to take a decision, who's the managing member of that LLC. So that person being the majority ownership of that LLC has a right to dissolve, has a right to make it take a decisions and all. So in the operating agreement, if you're like going for a big business or something, we should always draft that operating agreement by having a discussion with an internal members and have an attorney to draft it properly so that there should not be any issues going forward. So operating agreement is very important.
So the operating agreement, we can go to attorney or we can go and notarize it also. Like if the both the partners are mutually agrees on it, if we just go to the notarizing guy and we make it notarized, is that good enough?
No, that is an internal purpose, okay? Both the members has to sign it, which
Okay.
means both the members are giving a concern for that operating agreement. Hey, we agreed for that.
Okay.
But when you form an LLC, right, you would be giving the members information, okay? Members information. It doesn't specify, okay, you're owning 80%, you're owning 20%. The state only gives you to form an LLC to add as many as members you wanted. But for internal purpose, to avoid those conflicts, right, we need to have this agreement, operating agreement.
Perfect. And there's one more question. Is an
Sure.
individual with EAD or H1, L1, can they start the LLC?
Yes, I told you, right? H1, L1, there is a gray area. Many people will say not to form an LLC. Okay, initially when I was talking about the eligibility, right? Okay, many people says, hey, you can form it, but you should not be actively participating into the business. You should be very as a limited partner. You just invest and leave it off. Okay, that is a gray area. But there are certain obligations. Few people will say, okay, if you are on L1 on H1, go and ask your employer whether you can do that. Who will ask that, right? Because we are obliged to work for them, so we cannot ask that. That's the reason they will say, okay, don't form it on your name, on EAD, form on your spouse name and move forward.
So I have a question
On
here.
EAD
So,
you can do that. Yep.
so what happens is, okay, you form an LLC, you're an
Mhm.
H1, and the thing is, you're an H1, but the end of the year you have to make some taxes. So with LLC is nothing but a business, right? So you,
Correct. Mm-hmm.
with LLC, you start a business and you make some profit.
Mm-hmm.
So end of the year you have to file a taxes to the IRS.
Correct. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So how do they do? There is two scenarios here.
Mm-hmm.
LLC is formed by only H1 guy. How
Okay. Mm-hmm.
how do they do that?
Okay, as see, one thing we need to make it very clear. Okay, H1 obligations are there,